Welcome everybody to episode 24, Meet with Cheese Metaverse interviews. I'm your host, LeDrop WithCheese, coming to you from the Metaverse as usual. Today, I have an amazing guest for you. This is someone that I met at NFT MKE back in August, and we've been working closely ever since. She is a radio personality at Hittin Hard Radio, an extremely talented artist and storyteller. She is the MetaSeer. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you T9Let.
Thank you. How everyone doing? It's good to connect with you, Joey. It really is. So,
yeah. Thank you.
I love the glasses. You are a trendsetter for that.
Yeah. You know, people are like, where'd you get those? They're just $35 on Amazon. But I'm the only person that actually goes out in public with them on. And I've been doing it for almost 2 years. So I think people are like, yeah, let them have it. It's fine.
Absolutely. Trendsetter.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that we got to meet. I feel like you and I have a lot of similarities with personality and vision and work ethic and NFT MKE. I'm glad that Culla put that together because that's where we got to meet for the first time.
Absolutely. Great minds think alike.
Right, for sure. So tell us a little bit about your background and, you know, what you've done in the past and how you ended up where you are today in this world of Web3.
Right. So born and raised Milwaukee. I am a mother, as you can see. He definitely wants to be involved, but born and raised Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I have been an artist since probably like 5 years old. Before blowing in the background. Before I knew what blockchain was, I was already creating art. So like, as you can see, one of the canvases behind me is one of the pieces. I created this probably 6 years ago. It was just something I held on to because I thought it was a interesting piece of art. Yeah, so I have collectors locally here in Milwaukee. I think I have one collector in Chicago who lives in Chicago who has a physical piece of my art. But I was introduced to NFTs 2021. First it was crypto, of course, but then NFTs came into the picture. And for me, I seen it as a beautiful way to leverage this technology, this newfound technology with my artwork. So just like this piece that I created here, even though it's on canvas, I can take, a professional picture of it with my Canon camera because I'm a photographer as well. But I take that picture, that high quality picture, and then I can mint this on my preferred blockchain. And then, whoever is a holder of this, I would be able to send them the NFT as well. So, they hold it all across the board. But I just think to be able to leverage the technology in such a way, I think is beautiful. I think it allowed me to tap in to my inner child. I think a lot of us were able to use this space to tap into our inner child and just let our creativity, flow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's outstanding. And I'm glad that you realized that Web3, blockchain technology, the new internet is here for really us to take power back and empower each other and ourselves without having to rely on traditional systems. So I'm glad you found your way along that path to where you are.
Absolutely. And throughout the journey, it has been, it's been really fun. I think people are so focused on the outcome that they forget to detach themselves and actually enjoy the journey. And for me, this is one thing I can say, like, I'm literally enjoying the journey all the way up to the top. It's so fun. It's just every day I get to create something new. And, whether or not the world is ready for it, I just put myself out there. Every day I've been building myself. So where you see me now is, all from me taking that leap of faith and not caring what anybody thought and just continue on what I felt was true to myself, which was any form of my artistic expression, whether it be through drawing, painting, radio, when I get on radio to speak my mind, whether it be through poetry, which I'm starting to get really good at, storytelling, which, this space also allowed me to build upon those skills as well. My poetry skills, my just writing ability. I was always like kind of insecure about that part of myself, but this space has allowed me to flourish in that, to where all of a sudden the writer's block, it disappeared. Cause I felt like I had writer's block for like years, like 5 years. But it opened like all of that up. But yeah, I'm just at a really, really happy space.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about being an inspirational speaker? I mean, those 2 sentences that you told all the viewers are, build for yourself and put yourself out there and just see what happens, right? Because in Web3, it's really up to you to determine what you want to do and how well and how much you're going to succeed in this space. And that's great advice for everyone out there. And I'm glad that's why we're doing this, because people need to know about you and hear what you have to say and how you inspire people with your own personal journey. So I'm really glad that we're talking right now. But we got some big news. You have this is world premiere news right here going on. So T9Let and myself decided to collaborate on an NFT collection, and we are like, okay, it should be it should be Metaverse Cheese something. We can kind of do art, and she's like, well, this is going to need a story too. I'd be happy to do the art. So you did the art and the story, but it's going to be the first edition book, a first edition on Metaverse Publishing, available this Friday. And it is going to be a digital interactive NFT book, and it's called The MetaSeer's Prophecy. So that is just amazing. I'm so pumped for it.
Absolutely. Like I said, when I was doing the artwork, the direction, like I told you, I didn't think it would go that direction, but hey, it surprised me. Like me and you just took the leap of faith. And anything, the things, hold on, I'm gonna need you to cut this part. Okay. So like I was saying, you and I, we took that leap of faith. We had no clue. We just thought it was going to be just, a normal collection, but it turned out to be something much bigger. And I think that's why people should put themselves out there, because even though the intention may have been one thing, you just never know where it could lead. And I say that with any area pertaining to this space of Web3, it's like the sky's the limit. And is it really even that? I just feel like it's much higher. But yeah, everyone, the book will be available on the Ethereum blockchain this Friday. So yeah, stay tuned for that. It's so exciting. I still listen. It's like, teach me.
I know it is. I love the way that you kind of take what's happening and are telling it in an inspirational way for people, because that's what people need to hear is like, I'm an artist, you're an artist. We have different strengths and styles, right? And I had a vision of, there's this LeDrop WithCheese, and I want him to make a metaverse. And then you created the artwork and wrote a story for every single piece of art in the book. And it all comes together. It is a tale about metaverse abundance. It's a tale about cheese. And ultimately it's about inspiration. And I think you did such a great job with it. You deserve all the credit for it. And it will be available on OpenSea this Friday through Metaverse Publishing. It's going to be a limited run because it's a first edition and we're early. But when we first started talking about it, I'm like, what you've evolved this into is way bigger than just a Tezos object drop. I'm like, there's more to it than that. And then I'm like, oh, my buddy Callie at Metaverse Publishing so graciously allowed us to utilize one of his smart contracts to put your story on Ethereum for everyone in the metaverse. So go check it out this Friday, everyone. I just want you to know I'm very proud of you, T9Let. Thanks for taking the leap with me. Let's fucking go. Let's just keep
Let's go.
We can do whatever we want. No one can stop us anymore.
Absolutely. Not at all. Yeah. Not at all.
Hell
and
yeah.
I want that to be echoed to everybody else. And even if you, let's just say, even if you all feel like you're hitting a roadblock or have problems, it's okay to ask for help sometimes. Like, ask for help. Don't be afraid, because you never know who may need you too. You know, you may have a skill set that somebody else may need to be able to solve an issue that they're dealing with. But we don't know if you're not speaking up or, you know, presenting yourself forward to everybody. So don't be afraid to come forward. Everybody, as time goes on, you all will figure out we need each other.
Yes, we're building pillars for future generations, and we can't Google how to do that in Web3 because it's happening in front of our face every day. So I agree. It's all about community in this space. Speaking of which, you know, how would you describe the Web3 and NFT community to people that aren't familiar with the space?
Well, we're probably a bunch of nerds. You know, see this technology as a gold mine. And I will say it is beautiful to see other people use it in the same manner for productive reasons, you know, to progress forward with anything, and the solutions that are being found or, you know, created with the technology. I like a lot of people in the space, they're geniuses. People who are stuck around for the bull markets, you know, in the bear markets especially, you know, you can really see through the bear markets, you know, who is really the hard workers, are the, you know, so, you know, the people who aren't really meant to be here, or for, you know, or they weren't really committed, or we'll see that through, you know, the bear market, everybody will fall off. But then you'll have those who were, like you say, the pillars, the ones with the strong wills, the ones with the right and correct alignment and mindset, they're still here to stay. And then you see how they progress and build. And I just think it's a beautiful thing, because there's so many pillars of inspiration in this space. Like, it doesn't matter which blockchain you look to. There's so many things happening, and so many, you know, people building. And I think that there's so much good that it overshadows the small bad that's happening. That's why it's just like, how can you not be involved in this space? Look at all this, you know, of course, there's always going to be some cons with things, but the positive that we have in this space, oh my gosh, it's just, it's really, you know, I feel like a blessing to us all. And I think the community is beautiful. The community of Web3 is where, I mean, it was because of them, complete strangers, that I am where I am in the space. And I was able to build my way through making these connections. But I think the connections and the foundations of the connections are really important, because it's going to be through our connections that we're able to pull each other up, not, you know, surface based, you know, connections where it's just, you know, oh, I see you over there building this, nice to know you, but not like actually like, you know, who is this person behind, you know, why are you here? You're here to make a difference, so am I, and let's make it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, you know, and if I have to give a short answer of what the NFT community is to me, we are the best fucking community on the planet right now, Web3 community. And we are unapologetically ourselves, and everyone embraces that freedom of being yourself. And we're all willing to help, and intelligible, because the technology aspect is not for entry-level people, but you know, I just love what we're doing every single day in this space. It's why I get up early and go to bed late, and I'm always online trying to figure out the best build for the future. So that's my short answer. I just clip that little bit for promo for my show. So thanks for sitting through that. But you're a woman of many talents, and the things that I think you have an exceptional talent at, which I've had the opportunity, thank you so much, is you're a tarot reader.
Yes. I'm a tarot reader. A lot of people know me from being a tarot reader, actually, probably more so than the artist. Word gets around fast when it comes to that.
Tell us a little bit about it, because I'm sure, like myself, I didn't know a lot about it. And after kind of telling me that there's certain process to go through with your deck of cards, and the way to read them, and the questions that people can have answered kind of readings. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got into it.
Yeah, so I got into tarot about 5 years ago. It was, it was kind of a rough period in my life. I had lost someone close to me. And it was just something about, I guess, losing somebody so close. There was, I guess you could say, like a elevation in consciousness or what have you, where something about this particular divination caught my interest. And tarot is a form of divination. So a divination is pretty much a scientific mathematical measurement system of wave frequencies, right? And the cards, what they allow me to do is measure those wave frequency. And then it is up to me, the reader, to be able to use all of my intuitive gifts to be able to pinpoint those energies, to tell you, like, in the future, how you may feel, or currently or past, how something is, being played out and how to play out in your life. Now, every reader is different. So whereas, I may be, clairvoyant, clairaudience, clairsentience, the next reader may not be. They may be a palm reader, or they may work with the pendulum, they may work with bones. It just depends, it's like exactly what are you looking for in guidance and your reader. So with me, I do the cards. I do studies, astrology. I'm not an astrologer, but I will always recommend anyone to the best astrologers that I like, my personal 5. I'll always recommend them. But it is important to even know other forms of divination, because the cards can show you certain things, but something like, looking at your astrological natal chart, which is a blueprint for you, you can get a lot more. You're gonna get a lot more information, especially about yourself, and how you operate and how you'll operate until you take your last breath within this lifetime. So I use it as a tool to pretty much help and guide. And it's no different than me, like, pretty much looking at the news for the weather, right? You have a prediction of what it's going to be, what the temperature is going to be for the next week or whatever, those days ahead. I'm doing the same thing, but I'm doing it with energy, and to say, like, well, hey, these are the energies you may have to encounter this week, or, this day. So it just keeps me aware. So that way I better navigate, and I don't wake up in the morning and it's just like, well, I wonder what today holds. So it's just a blueprint that gives me, direction. Because I think we as humans, we do need direction. So it really isn't anything spooky. Divination has been around for thousands of years. Divination has been used in ancient civilizations. And even though tarot, you can say, is a new form or more modern form of divination, is still somewhat linked and connected to the old systems, which I think is beautiful. So I just utilize pretty much what my ancestors had already been utilizing. When I came forward and told some of the other family members that I was a tarot reader, they weren't surprised, because they said, well, yeah, it's been in the family. So it wasn't anything new. I was just tapping to what was already there.
That is fantastic. Yes. And I would say you're pretty accurate too, because the reading that you gave me a couple weeks ago at NFT MKE, I feel like it was spot on. Like, I couldn't have, you nailed it. You know what I mean? So whatever you're doing and how your process is, your clairvoyance, it's definitely sharp, and just keep doing what you're doing, because I saw a lot of value in that. I felt motivated afterwards to just keep going, right? Don't stop doing what you're doing, because you're doing things well and for the betterment of humanity, always in the back of my head. So yeah, I appreciate that. But speaking of NFT MKE again, you and I we didn't know each other, but at their first event we met, we ended up sitting next to each other.
Yes.
And I think we were the only 2 people that had crystals on us as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about crystals and the universe, like, I am a firm believer that, these stones, facts were along thousands, millions of years before us. They'll be here after humans too, right? So they have some kind of special power. So I always have a daily carry of some stones. You know, I have a whole bunch of them right here that I kind of just,
Oh, right.
whatever I'm feeling, I put in my pocket and I just kind of go with it. And then once I started to get into it, an example is like last year it was like the month before NFT NYC 2021. I'm out in New York. I'm just jumping around a couple NFT events, and these two guys are brilliant. We're having a great conversation. He's like, "Oh, what is your daily carry?" And I'm like, "You guys are carrying guns? Like, what are you talking about?" Pull out this little bag, and there's like 3 or 4 different stones, crystals in them, and they were able to speak intelligently. And I'm like, I have the same one on me right now. So it's kind of crazy how that all works. But tell us a little bit how you got into crystals and how it's kind of affected your vision and how you see things.
So I was introduced to crystals by way of just dabbling with the tarot. And once I like observed other readers, I was observing some of the tools that they were using, down to even like, you know, the how you even maintain or hold your deck, you know, what you're supposed to hold it in, down to that. So I was looking at the crystals and I said, okay, I was like, so I need crystals too. So I went on a hunt for more decks, tarot decks, and through me like going to look for my other decks, I ended up in Butler Free Spirits on it's like 124th in Hampton. But I love them, like, and all the ladies there are so kind. But they had like just the amount of crystals was ridiculous. Like I could not believe, and I was just like, when I walked in, I'm like, it was meant for me to come here, because why would anybody come in here and just leave like that? They had thousands of crystals, ranging from different prices. I think the cheapest one I saw was like 25 cents. So it was just like, how could you not? Like, how could you not? So, you know, I guess the ones I was picking up, I was being told by the cashier, she was just like, those are meant for you. If you're picking them up and you like can't seem to put them down, those are meant for you. And I just went from there. And then I just was like, they gave me like a guide of like what these different properties that these different crystals held. And then that's when it got me to like researching a little bit more, like, well, how old are these things? And come to find out, you know, these crystals are really ancient. They were used in ancient civilizations as well. They hold energy, literally. It's like almost, it's, what do you call it? They call it crystal intelligence, something like that, where it's a whole different form of intelligence, no different than like a plain rock that we see outside. That rock actually holds a form of intelligence, just like any other, you know, living being, such as a tree or whatever. But yeah, so these things like, and I think the one that I fell in love with the most was the obsidian. And it was because I researched, it came from some raw material from lava or like volcano, somewhere like where it came from, the volcano in the lavas, where it hardened and it became to this like rock. And I was just like, that is so like, I'm like, that's just so cool. Like, who couldn't love these? So I just fell in love with the crystals. I don't even know how many I have. I have no clue. That's just how many I have. My son, he gravitates towards like certain crystals that I'll wear sometimes. And then he wants me to take it off me and then put it on him. And I'm just like, well, if it's coming off me, it's meant for him. And it's like, it's amazing to see how it even affects him in the younger generation. Because it's not just him. I think my nephew, he had a thing with the crystals too. And it's just like, well, what is it? So we definitely understand that there's a form of consciousness there. And I think it's beautiful. It's really nothing spooky to it. Like I said, it's no different than looking at any other life form. You know, because we're not the only beings that have consciousness. I know we like to think that, but you know.
Yeah, I again agree with you so much on that, is that they do harness some sort of energy and you gravitate towards them. Like the first crystal I ever purchased, I went into a shop similar to how you did. They're everywhere. I walked down the counter, there's like 10 necklaces hanging and one star like vibrating real fast. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it means you should buy that one because it's not. I'm like, okay, so I bought it. And so yeah, it's definitely, there's something there. And I just know that for me personally, it also keeps me grounded. I feel like I have part of the earth we're from, as on me at all times, and it keeps me grounded, right, out of trouble. So that's part of the reason why I hold them. But yeah, so as far as the metaverse goes, and getting out of the real earth world and into the intangible metaverse, how do you describe the metaverse to someone who doesn't know what it is?
To someone who doesn't know what the metaverse is, I say think virtual reality. So Fortnite, let's just say you're in Fortnite, but I just give you glasses and then you get to really, zoom around. It's the same concept. All it is virtual reality. It's just a different name and blockchain involved. That's really it. But I always revert to virtual reality. And then people like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, for an entry-level person, that is a great way to describe it, because they probably never even put on a headset and played in virtual reality. So that's like a good entry-level point. For me, I always just consider it like the convergence of all technologies and interacting with them and affect our life. So a metaverse could be one Decentraland real estate platform, or it can be Fortnite, it can be blockchain. It's anything that's like really intangible. So yeah, that's more advanced stuff. But for the beginner, yeah, it's VR headset, man. Like,
yeah, I just give them Fortnite. Like everybody knows what Fortnite is. So
yeah, they're doing more blockchain stuff with Fortnite too. They're like,
I see that
in-game NFT stuff to own your actual assets. What took that so long, huh?
I know, right? But it's nice to see it moving that way though, because I think the people deserve that, especially purchasing all these things and to actually be able to hold them in your wallet and trade them, leverage them, take out loans against them. I think is awesome.
Yeah, and NFTs. You and I love NFTs, and I got out of everyone that I've met, especially females, but just in general, I would say you have the most impressive and vast collection of any female I've met. Yeah. And arguably one of the most I've seen anywhere out there. So how'd you get into collecting? What were some of your early favorites, and what are you bullish on?
Woo, that's a lot of, well, first off, I love to collect other people's art. Even though I'm an artist, like, no lie, like my art is dope, but I don't always want to see it. So I love to see other people's art, and so y'all give me inspiration too. So that is the most things that I have, like other artists work. I think I have some NFTs for some video games. I know I have VV. I love VV. Okay, I feel like VV is so underrated. Listen, VV, their collectibles, oh my gosh. I got on VV like a month or two when they were new. And I'm just like, when I, researched what it was, and I'm just like, yeah, this is like this is not happening everywhere. I'm just like, my husband, he didn't really understand. He just like, all he seen was just old school, virtual statues that were just moving in a 360 circle. And I'm just like, it's much more than that. I'm like, in the future, I'm like, this is gonna be so valuable. Just watch. But it's VV. I fell in love with VV. I was able to snag a couple of rares, believe it or not. Let's see, I got in early on a project called G Meta, where they're working to become like the metaverses of the metaverse, where like it ties in all the metaverses. So like if you needed plots of land or in other metaverses, you don't have to go and search all over the place, or even like it's all bundled in one, and then they even have a school attached to it. It's pretty dope. I know they're still in the workings of that. but they were raising the funds for, the creation of this. And I think they reached over the million mark, and they're still, I think their goal was 5 million. But yeah, that's a dope I always think anything with education attached to it, because it's one thing to try to sell something to people in the metaverse or just in Web3 in general, but to teach people, I think, that is the honorable thing to do while you're trying to get them to buy stuff, teach people, especially those who have no clue what this stuff is, because it's such a wider audience of people who don't know than those who do. So I respect a lot of projects who put education first. I am a student of a lot of people who are teachers, and I was able to access their courses by way of the NFT, by way of buying that access NFT and then being granted access, in the courses and have access to these teachers. I think that's amazing. So, it's a lot of teachers. Slice, Slice is one of my teachers. Slice, J Crypto, them together, they have Meta V Academy. I'm sorry, it's a lot. You have L Crypto, who is an amazing teacher. He's a Web3 developer, works with a lot of people, a lot of celebrities. It's a lot. If I could even, I'm sorry, y'all, I have so many NFTs. I'm just trying to think of the blockchains.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure I don't.
Which one would you tell people to buy right now? That you have some, you've already been part of the community maybe for a few months or longer.
I would say definitely go and buy Slice. His name is slice.e. You can go and find him on like so many different platforms, but SLICE, Slice. You can find his access NFT to his classes. He's a really good teacher where he teaches not just one portion of of Web3. He teaches you how to create content. He teaches you how to actually leverage your NFTs, because a lot of people have their NFTs, but they didn't know that they could be actually creating and generating passive income off of those NFTs. So I think it needs to be the proper people teaching these things. And I think he is a master teacher at that, as well as trading. If you're trading cryptos, it's just one thing to hold them. But another thing is, regardless of the cycle of the markets, whether we're in a bull market or a bear market, you should still have the education to leverage, well, how do I make money off of this crypto regardless of what cycle it's in? He is excellent at teaching that as well. So I would say getting Slice's access NFT pass, it's gonna do you a lot of good. You'll walk out of there with a lot of skill sets.
Awesome. Yes, for sure. Well, enough about talking about other people's NFTs. You're a fantastic artist, and you have a whole bunch of stuff on Object. Tell us a little bit about some of the pieces that you've created for Object.
So for Object, Tezos blockchain, I didn't know exactly where I wanted to put my art, to be honest. I was really trying Solana at first, but for whatever reason, I kept running into issues. So I just took that as a sign, like, hey, it ain't for you. So I went to Tezos, and easy. Everything was so much more easy. The community was much more like willing to help, more willing to just spread the word about you, a little bit more engaging. On Tezos, what I did was I said, listen, I want to create pieces, but I wanted to tap into that ability for me with the poetry, right? Because I felt like, well, let me try to build that skill set. So when they say a picture, it expresses 1,000 words, it says 1,000 words, I can, take those 1,000 words and make some work with it, So me creating some of these images, some of them are hand-drawn, some of them are recreations from old images. Some of them are digitally enhanced with, AI, so I use all these digital tools on top of my own, drawing abilities, to create these pieces. But what I will say is, if you look at my portfolio, you notice that most of my pieces have a story behind them. You know, there may be one or two that don't, but then most of them, I was just like, listen, let me test this out. You know, when I created it, what was the intent behind it? You know, what can I see? How do I want others to see it? And I just started playing with that. So there's like, there's a good amount of pieces where there's a story behind it, and I created it from pure thought, you know, just right off the dome. And I can do that with pretty much anything that I create. Even if it's not my story, I can still create a story out of somebody else's story, and it can be a completely different story.
Yes, and that's exactly what you did. Is I'm like, hey, can you do a cheese art? And then you created this whole story. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but it was all you. And I just want to say thank you so much for like putting it all together and just believing that it could be something and taking the leap. For everyone out there this Friday, go to OpenSea, Metaverse Publishing. It is going to be T9Let's and my first ever NFT digital interactive book, the MetaSeer's Prophecy. So, Tiara, thank you
Yeah,
so much for your time today. I appreciate it. You've inspired all the viewers. I appreciate your perspective, and our future is extremely bright.
absolutely. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks again.
No problem.